The full moon in Libra on Saturday, April 16th, squares Pluto, promising intense emotions and powerful feeling. It encourages us to face the darkness, to heal, and to release the outdated relationship dynamics. Let's talk about it in more depth and break it down for each rising sign. My name is Anastasia. For those of you new here, I'm a traditional Western astrologer specializing in natal, relationship, and predictive readings. If you'd like to book a reading with me, you can check out the link down below. And if you're new to my channel, please subscribe, leave me a comment or a like. I truly appreciate all of the support I get from you guys. So this full moon occurs on Saturday, April 16th at 2:54 p.m. Eastern at 26 degrees 45 minutes Libra. And full moons are always a completion of a cycle, right? We plant a seed in the darkness of the new moon, we set our intentions, and then the energy works, we work, and something manifests, something comes to fruition, completion, changes occur at the time of the full moon. There is tension. It's the sun opposite the moon. The moon is lit up. The emotions are lit up. And this time around, it's even more emotional. It's even more powerful because of that aspect to Pluto. Libra full moon opposes the sun in Aries. So we're dealing with the tension between me versus us. My needs, the sun in Aries, my personal desires, my goals, my independence versus our needs, our relationship, the benefit of all, right? Versus just being very focused on yourself. So we're called to find balance. And sometimes the balance is created by putting your needs in comparison with the other person's needs and trying to find balance, right? Like maybe giving something up, compromising. And sometimes it also has to do with speaking up and expressing things that have been bothering you. This full moon does square Pluto in Capricorn, so there might be tension, there might be intensity. Internally, maybe you feel frustrated with something that you didn't express, so then there's going to be that strong pull to speak up, to communicate. Externally, there might be events or people or circumstances that trigger you somehow and encourage that growth, make you face things. Pluto is control and power. So topics of balance in relationships and, who has the power, who holds on to their grievances for too long and brings it up, or who makes the final decision, right? Like who waits for the other person to come to them, like all of those kind of things. Libra is very relational and it is curious about relationships. It's curious about other people. So it's likely that frustrations and challenges connected to Pluto will be relational as well. So there might be tensions, there might be conflicts surrounding control and power in your relationships, forcing you to examine the dynamics that you're in and relationships you're in. The issues of codependency may come up, topics of manipulation, jealousy, all the hidden things. Pluto is very much the darkness of your psyche, the darkness of the other person. So you're called to look at things that you normally don't like to look at. Not gonna lie, it might be intense, but the ruler of this full moon is Venus, exalted in Pisces. So the ruler is looking out for us, right? It's a few days after the Jupiter and Neptune conjunction, the beautiful, supportive, empathetic energy. So we're kind of called to lean into that, to be forgiving, to be understanding, to care about the benefit of all versus just being too focused on our own needs, right? We've also been in this Aries season, and the energy of Aries season sometimes is trying to do all things at once, while Libra is more about balance, right? So it's also kind of about stepping away from that tendency to have an insane to-do list and maybe chilling, maybe spending time with your partner, calling up a friend, going outside, chilling in the field, smelling beautiful flowers. So you're called to allow that break And maybe because of Pluto, maybe you're forced to take that break and you're not. You're kind of like going, and then you hit the wall and you're like, okay, time to relax. Another important thing is when we get two planets squaring the third one, it's called a T-square because we have squares between three planets in cardinal signs, right? The sun is in Aries, the moon is in Libra, Pluto is in Capricorn. So the sign that's missing, another cardinal sign connected with initiation that's missing, is Cancer. And so it's a T-square. It's not a full square because of that Cancer part missing. And it's releasing. Basically, like there's tension, but the part that's missing a lot of times is the answer. So in order to fix some of your frustrations, if you're feeling stuck, if you're feeling emotional, be more like Cancer. Lean into Cancerian energy. Relax. Take care of yourself. Take a bath. Cuddle with the loved ones. You know, hug your cat. Whatever makes you feel comfortable. You know, is it TikTok? Is it your favorite book? Your favorite movie? Tasty snacks? Just like relax a little bit. Try to balance the tension with that kind of stuff. So this is the time to release unhealthy dynamics, right? All of the relationship challenges, your people-pleasing tendencies, dynamics that don't make you happy, outdated relationships that don't make you happy, and maybe bring forth healthier, more harmonious relationships. How to deal with this? I would say don't run away from tough emotions. Don't push them aside and pretend like everything's fine, especially if something's coming up. Maybe take a beat. Don't necessarily say the first thing that comes to mind. I've done that in the past. It doesn't usually doesn't work out. So yeah, like talk to a therapist, talk to a friend about whatever is bursting up. Embrace your true self. Embrace things that you would like to say, right? Express it, share without the fear of disappointing others. Sometimes that's the way to find balance, is to let go of that fear and express yourself. Journal, meditate, take care of your body, and connect with Libran energies. Move your body, dance, paint, write, anything that takes you away from the drama for a bit and calms you down. So let's talk about each rising sign and see what this might bring for you. For Aries rising, this full moon occurs in the 7th house and it trines Pluto in the 10th house. So we have changes in the sector of relationships, completion of a partnership, moving a partnership to the next level, but the changes are prompted and somehow connected to the sector of career, status, and reputation. So Pluto has been in your house of career for a while, right? It's a really long-term transit. So maybe questions of like happiness professionally. Are you in the place you want to be? Are you satisfied with your professional progress? Are there any fears that you need to address, right? Or, and if you are, how can you lean on other people maybe and ask other people for support? Or vice versa, are you too controlled by work? You know, like, is it taking up all of your time? Is there some kind of drama that you're so engrossed and losing track of what is important to you? Jupiter conjoined Neptune in your 12th house of spirituality. You know, maybe you have been discovering things that are more spiritual, like healing your chakras or astrology or anything like that, things that make your soul happy. So this full moon might bring professional challenges and dramas that lead you to let go of something and let go of maybe professional partnership or make changes to your relationships. I think look back, because this is a completion of a cycle started on October 6, 2021. Look back at what kind of partnerships, business, and romantic got started at that time. Maybe you're changing things. Maybe you're completing, letting go, moving things to the next level at this time. Signing contracts is a possibility. entering business negotiations is a possibility. Speaking up and telling people how you truly feel is very likely here, together with maybe surrendering control a little bit and trusting that things will work out. Or maybe even if you have been fearful about letting go of control, maybe this is the time when you trust that this partnership is the way to go, even though you don't know all the answers, you don't know how it's going to work out, but you choose to let go of fears and go into it. For Taurus rising, this full moon occurs in your 6th house and it squares Pluto in your 9th house. So with Pluto in the 9th house, there might be challenges connected to your beliefs. So there might be a big question of like, what do you believe and how do things you deeply care about, are they present in your life? Is there enough of them? Is there too much of them? You know, like, do you allow your beliefs about something kind of create drama at work, for example? Because full moon in the 6th house creates a sense of completion, change in your professional sector, changes connected to serving other people. Maybe you've been committed to some kind of long-term project that possibly deals with education, travel, legal, publishing matters, and that reaches completion. But there's a possibility with Pluto in the 9th house of some sort of crisis of faith, issues connected to travel, issues connected to education, maybe needing to change. Even like, you know, Taurus rising people have been going through personal change, kind of growing up, taking on pursuits that they feel passionate about. So Pluto in the 9th house is also just kind of like asking you, how is your faith changing? How are your views changing? And the view of yourself in the world. So maybe there's some kind of like, you know, spiritual things that you have to address. But of course, there could also be like quite literal issues at work, completion of a project that dealt with foreign people, changes in the career, letting go of a fight. Maybe you had fights with your colleagues about foreign matters, you know, maybe something connected to like Russia, Ukraine. Maybe you're moving with Pluto in the 9th house. Maybe you're moving and making big changes to your place of living, and that results in changes to your daily life, in needing to problem solve, needing to release something. Of course, 6th house also deals with your habits, with your health. So there might be a time for you to release bad habits, to rethink your diet. Take a look back at October 6th at the new moon in Libra. What was happening with your health? What was happening with your daily life? Have you started some kind of course? Maybe you started learning something and you're completing it right now. You may be getting over a health issue and just kind of like implementing better habits connected to whatever is going on in your life and whatever changes you're making. For Gemini risings, this full moon occurs in the 5th house and it squares Pluto in the 8th. Take a look back at October 6, 2021. Have you started any creative projects? Maybe you collaborated with someone, or maybe you got like a kernel of an idea, because right now might be the time that you're completing those projects. What was happening in the lives of your children? What was happening in your love life? There might be changes there. With Pluto squaring this full moon from the 8th house, you're very literally looking at the money and how money controls you, especially money that isn't yours, that is owed to you or you owe to others. 8th house is the place of entanglement. It talks about, you know, how caught up we might be in different things, how caught up we might be in the dynamics we have with other people, and questions of fairness of those dynamics might come up too, like what is blocking you from having true bliss? Because the full moon is in the 5th house, right? Like, you're encouraged to embrace joy, creativity, spend more time with kids, but there's certain like strings attaching you to something else. Maybe there's a job that you have to do that is not enjoyable. Maybe it's, your partnerships. Maybe you owe money to someone. So how can you release those things? How can you let go of things that don't satisfy you in order to pursue joy, creativity, and maybe spend more time with your child? You may be changing a romantic relationship with Pluto in the 8th house. There might be, in your romantic relationship, there might be questions about money and investing money or spending money together. So maybe something you need to talk about and address in order to move forward. Creative projects, right? Like changes to creativity, releasing something. Just watch out, be careful when it comes to like owing things to people and claiming those things that they owe to you. Changes in the lives of your children are possible as well. If you have like older children, maybe they start school. I never know what time of year it is. Maybe they graduate, right? So there's definitely possibilities there. For Cancer risings, you get this full moon in the 4th, and it squares Pluto in your 7th house. Take a look back at October 6, 2021. What was happening with your family? What was happening with your living situation? Right now, there's a change that something is changing. There's a chance that something is changing. Venus, the ruler of this full moon, is in the 9th house. So some of you might be moving to a different country, and there might be a completion of that, changes to your place of living. It's squaring Pluto in the 7th house, so there's certain drama connected to relationships. There might be disagreements with your partner or with your family members about the way to proceed when it comes to your living situation. Or yeah, like maybe, you know, you want to paint the walls and they're perfectly happy with the way the walls are. I think for Cancer risings, there's a very clear, like, topics of power in relationships will come up, and topics of control, and how, you know, how much are you relying on the other person, or how much are you allowing them to make decisions, and how happy is it making you? Do they have the last say, right? Like, are you in a relationship where your partner makes all the decisions, but you're secretly feeling resentful and unhappy with that? What is happening with your parents? Like, do you have a parent that is too controlling? I think you will be encouraged to talk things over and to address things that are maybe hard to talk about. And expect changes in your home and living situation, right? Like maybe completing a renovation project, maybe buying, selling a home. Your parents' lives might change. Maybe they're moving to live with you. Maybe they're moving away from you. Let me know in the comments below if this is resonating and what is happening with your living situation. For Leo rising, this full moon occurs in the 3rd house, and it squares Pluto in the 6th. So Pluto in the 6th, squaring, like, there's changes to your schedule, something connected to work. Take a look at October 6, 2021, when we had a new moon in Libra. What kind of project have you started that deal with communication? Maybe you started to take the train to work when you used to drive. Maybe you've upgraded your technology. Maybe you started a new job. Definitely take a look at what was happening then. But Pluto being in the 6th house makes me wonder if you have been burning the candle at both ends. Is that the saying? If you have been working too hard, right? Like, have you felt like the daily grind just taking too much space in your life? Has there been any tensions professionally that you've been trying to not talk about, or even not professionally? Because, like, if you have little kids, right, like 6th house will be all the taking care of them. 6th house is the place of service, so like serving your children, taking care of them. And with Pluto being there might be a sense of just like feeling fed up and resentment coming up about all the things that you're doing for other people, and maybe they're not reciprocating. So for Leo risings, I see this as very much 3rd house deals with communication. So needing to communicate, needing to talk about something that is frustrating to you. this full moon releases into your 12th house, so there might be joy to be found in alone time and like stepping away from the situation. But you definitely don't want to suppress things that are bubbling up. You want to express them. And because it's the full moon in Libra, ruled by Venus in your 8th house, it's very nice energy for compromise and for dealing with people and talking to them and finding solutions. There might be challenges or changes in the lives of your siblings, because 3rd house also deals with siblings, and changes to your daily life, like your schedule, your neighborhood, right? Like there might also be something that's happening in the neighborhood, like, I don't know, a project to plant trees, and you got involved with it in October and now it's completing. Exams you might be taking an exam, you might be completing a writing project with this full moon, completing a tech project if you've been thinking about starting a blog, or upgrading your social media presence. This might be the time when you put yourself out there a lot more. And if you have been planning a short trip, there might also be a chance that you're going on a short trip. For Virgo risings, this full moon occurs in the 2nd house and it squares Pluto in the 5th. So full moon in the 2nd house squaring Pluto in the 5th. There might be, with Pluto in the 5th, there might be relationship dramas, maybe something from the past that you haven't quite addressed or you haven't let go of. Maybe you broke up with someone, but there feels like there's something still unsaid. Or maybe you have been too accommodating with your partner and you're now feeling unsatisfied. So the full moon in the 2nd brings changes to your finances, and it brings changes to your values. So financially, right, being connected to the 5th house, maybe you and your partner have different ideas of spending money. And maybe now is the time to reconsider those things and figure out different ways. It might also be a creative collaboration that brings changes to your finances. Because Pluto is in the 5th house. 5th house deals with creativity. So maybe you are completing a creative project and you're getting a payment for that, or you're butting heads with your creative partner. Whatever is happening in the sector of romance, creativity, and children is affecting your finances, right? Like if we're looking at children, maybe you're putting your kid into kindergarten and now you have to pay for that. So expect major changes financially. Take a look back at October 6, 2021. What was happening in your life at the time? What kind of investments have you made? What kind of purchases you started to plan, because around the time of this full moon, you may be making that purchase, getting returns on investments, even changing careers, I can see, because Pluto in the 5th house, I think, may create this like really strong pull to go towards your dreams, to pursue things that make you excited, to start creative projects. So there might be a letting go of a career, or letting go of a source of income, or alternatively having 2 sources of income. Let me know if this resonates in the comments below. For Libra rising, this full moon occurs in the 1st house and it squares Pluto in the 4th. So family drama, family matters. It's so funny because as I'm recording this, I got like a message from my mother. So appropriate as a Libra rising, right? So Pluto in the 4th can create a sense of like, you're looking at the family matters and you're looking at control. Like, is your family too controlling? Are they too involved? Or if they're not, if you're not even in touch with them, but like, are you allowing the past to be like a red flag, something that is so present in your life, something that is affecting your actions, affecting your behaviors? This could be great for therapy, talking to a good friend, talking to a trusted person about your dynamics, your life, and how your past might be still present in your life. There might be living situation you have to address, because the full moon in the 1st house ultimately creates changes to your personality. Take a look at October 1st, 2021. What was going on, right? Like, have you considered moving? Have you considered making changes to your body? Have you made investments into your health? Have you started a project that put you out there more? Maybe a YouTube channel or a TikTok account, like anything that kind of says, here I am, look at me. So there might be completions there, but I think changes may be triggered by certain familial relational dynamics. And of course, another thing with Pluto being in the 4th house of home and family, maybe there's changes happening in your home. Maybe you're moving, maybe you're fixing up your roof, and or you decided you don't want to fix it up, you just want to move. Maybe you're selling your place. So some kind of change in your identity connected to your physical place of living or connected to your family. You may choose to, I think, take a step back. For Aries season could have been very much for you about relating and thinking of other people and thinking about dynamics with other people. And you naturally, as a Libra rising, have that tendency to think about other people. But this full moon might be your chance to just take a step back and celebrate all of your accomplishments, celebrate how far you've come, buy yourself a new dress, treat yourself to a nice dinner, and rest. I think, like, rest and examine that that past or things that maybe are standing in your way. It is this T-square between your 1st, your 4th, and the 7th releases at the top in the 10th house. So there might also be some joy to be found in your career. Maybe, just celebrating how far you've come and celebrating all the things the targets that you've hit. Have a great full moon. Oh, and another thing too is changes to the appearance are possible, especially if, like, say 6 months ago you started thinking about getting Botox, and then, like, at this time you end up doing it. For Scorpio risings, this full moon occurs in the 12th house and it squares Pluto in the 3rd house. So Pluto in the 3rd can create sibling drama. It can create issues with your schedule, issues with your car, and some technology, like, phone breaking down. Be careful driving too fast. Minimize drama as much as you can, right? Like, maybe don't send angry texts. Wait to talk to someone in person. There could definitely be breakthroughs in communication. Even finding things out about a sibling, or like learning something about, I don't know, getting a text, finding out some kind of secret, can result into deep realization. The full moon is in the 12th house, so it's asking you to perhaps look at all the ways in which you are sabotaging yourself. And with Pluto in the 3rd, right? Like, what are you not saying? What are the things that you are upset about that you're swallowing down and not expressing? And how can you perhaps just say it out loud? It might be tough, right? Scorpio energy. It's interesting too, because Scorpio is very much about control, and this full moon feels like very much about control too. But I wonder if, you're kind of looking at the way you are dealing with control, and maybe in your mind you have more control by not telling them how you feel because it makes you feel vulnerable. But in reality, you can express your feelings and be heard, and then the situation changes, and that gives you more control. So there might be a sense of, like, letting go of something, and letting go of something by talking about it. Changes to your mental health, spiritual realizations, healing is possible here. A need to withdraw, a need to take a step back and relax and avoid the hustle and the bustle. You may be pulled into it, right? Like with Pluto being in the 3rd house, maybe your sibling is just like keeps annoying you, and you feel forced to express what you feel. Watch out for, like, explosions, right? I don't know. I feel like Pluto in the 3rd house squaring the full moon can definitely create, like, F off everyone. I don't care about this anymore. But it's cathartic. It's healing. It's helpful. You might be letting go of there might be also, like, 12th house is letting go. Full moon is letting go. Losses, release of things. So maybe you're letting go of an old car. Maybe you're letting go of a sibling dynamic, old computer, right? I'm just like looking at all the significations of the 3rd house. Maybe there's changes to your schedule. Maybe you're completing a course of study. There might be something, taking a sense of like taking a step, saying something, releasing something that affects your immediate environment and your relationships with siblings and sibling-like figures. For Sag rising, this full moon occurs in the 11th house and it squares Pluto in the 2nd house. So with Pluto in the 2nd, there might be tensions around money, right? With the full moon is in the 11th, you might be completing some kind of group project, changing your friendship dynamics, having a serious conversation with a friend, and it might be connected to money. Siblings perhaps too, right? Like, does someone owe you money and they've been sort of acting like it's not a big deal, but it's been bugging you? So there's definitely a possibility of having talks about that. Money in relation to your future dreams is a question too. What is your relationship like with money? Are you allowing financial considerations to control your life? Is there something that you would rather be doing, but you say, no, I have a job, I have the bills to pay, but maybe in reality you have enough savings to kind of take a step back? The full moon in the 11th house is like our place in the larger world. It's our place in the community. It's our ambitions a lot of times. So there might be changes to your ambitions connected to money. You know, like definitely feeling like money is not the most important thing, and maybe you're making a change, or even there might even be a boost financially, like a sense of getting recognized financially. So it's not only about like, you know, letting something go, but there could also be a sense of being kind of uplifted somehow. Of course, Pluto squaring this full moon feels rather tense, but there's definitely positive changes to your dreams and hopes and your friendships. You want to be careful, I think, like getting into fights, because sometimes you may be like smack in the middle of things and you don't understand what's happening. Friendships can change, and not only financial changes can happen to friendships, right? It's not just about debts. It can also be about different values. Maybe your friend has a certain belief that's been rubbing you off the wrong way. Maybe they're not supportive of your goals and you choose to let them go. And changes are possible in the lives of your friends that affect your friendship somehow as well. For Capricorn rising, this full moon occurs in your 10th house, so professional changes, and it squares Pluto in the 1st. So take a look back at October 6th when we had a new moon in Libra. What kind of projects have you started professionally? Pluto is in your 1st house, so for a while now you've been going through a really deep transformation, facing your fears, dealing with tough emotions, dealing with tough experiences, you know, looking at your family dynamics, releasing certain things, and your career or your professional aspirations has changed in the process too. So this full moon could be a result of that, right? There could be a completion of a project, there could be a sense of recognition, there could be a need to let go of something. I think it's interesting though with Pluto in the 1st house, like what are you afraid of and what are you not looking at? Because this full moon might like illuminate that, and it's likely going to affect your house of career and your house of home. So there might be certain things in those dynamics that you're not feeling happy with. It's releasing into Cancer, your 7th house, so it's likely that relationships can be a great source of support at this time, and your partner, your good friends, your business associates can be perhaps, you know, guidance and encouraging you to maybe like even giving you good advice, I think is likely. But maybe you're finishing a project at work that is deeply personal to you. Maybe you're getting rewarded. You may get like, you know, a bonus or something exciting like that. I just think it's a part of like a really larger cycle of deep transformation. And you're really called to be authentic and to pursue things that truly make you happy. You know, fake things will not do. For Aqua risings, this full moon happens in the 9th house and it squares Pluto in the 12th house. So full moon in the 9th brings changes to education, publishing, legal, and travel matters. You may see a completion of anything there, right? Like graduating, moving, becoming a teacher, finishing a legal battle, or releasing a book, releasing some kind of project. It is squaring Pluto in the 12th house, so there's likely something that is standing in your way, and don't tell anyone, but it's usually you who are the person who's standing in your way. So for Aqua risings, Pluto being in the 12th house, I think is just like a question. What is the issue you're not addressing? What is the past trauma, an issue from the past, a fear, self-limiting belief that you want to be an astrologer, but hey, astrologers don't make any money, or like it's only other people who can do that, but you don't think that you can do that. So there's a need to address something that is likely outdated, some kind of belief that's outdated, some kind of structure, because it's Pluto in Capricorn. Capricorn is ruled by Saturn. So some kind of like outdated belief, outdated philosophy that you're required or encouraged to let go of and expand your life somehow, right? With this 9th house full moon, become the teacher that you want to be, become the philosopher that you want to be, start writing, move to the place that you want to move. Yeah, kind of like releasing fears, I see, is a big possibility here. Take a look at what was happening in the sector of travel, education, religion, philosophy, legal, publishing matters in October, and you can sort of see things. I also see this as, like you can see things completing. I also see this as very much something connected to spirituality and foreign lands. And spirituality, maybe you're choosing to go and choose a career or embrace your passion for astrology, tarot, healing other people, traveling somewhere far is a possibility, going somewhere for education, or just embracing something that you were fearful of or you weren't fully ready to express to other people, and presenting yourself as that or as someone who pursues that. For Pisces rising, this full moon occurs in the 8th house and it squares Pluto in the 11th. Pluto in the 11th could bring tensions with friendships, some kind of conflicts, drama, maybe needing to address certain things, maybe needing to speak up. There might also be changes connected to your hopes and dreams. Maybe the way you saw your future is changing. And the full moon is in the house of money that is owed to you, or money that you owe to others. So there might be very much like financial changes happening in your life, like, refinancing your car, refinancing your mortgage. Because there's been a lot for Pisces rising, Jupiter conjoined Neptune in the 1st house. So you're going through a lot of these like new beginnings that bring a lot of new opportunities. And your finances are changing as a result. So I think this full moon is calling you to look at your money, your debts, your taxes, and see how those resources support or hinder your growth. And the same goes for friendships. I think maybe, are people in your life supportive, or are they holding you back? And how can you edit your friendships? How can you readjust things? You can totally see paying off debts, taking care of loans, mortgages, taxes. There might be therapy breakthroughs, or completing a cycle of therapy and realizing something about yourself. And even addressing past trauma that's connected to friendships or connected to goals that you haven't reached is a possibility here. But I think overall, considering that Venus, the ruler of this full moon, is in your 1st house, there's good possibilities and positive promise with this full moon that whatever you're cleansing, whatever debts you're releasing, whatever things you're detangling yourself from, will bring exciting new beginnings. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Let me know if it resonated in the comments below. And have a safe, lovely full moon. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.